Well, Loki came back for round 2 so they can flesh out their king story, provided they're still going with that in spite of recent scandals. But I don't know, maybe it'll all work out. And then again, it's all time travel shenanigans, so can always recast. I don't know why they're so reluctant to do that, in some instances. I mean, they did apparently for Thunderbolt Ross, But anyway, so it's just Loki's zipping in and out of time, all at the TVA offices. And that's it. That's the whole episode. They run down one hallway and then they run back it again from another angle. They go through this door and then they walk down the hall and go through another door. Stuff like that. He's in different points in time in the TVA, and it was, that's impossible. We're outside of time and space. But I mean, there's a chronological order, So anyway, I guess as a result of having made it to the home of He Who Remains, he just keeps getting zipped in and out of time, and they got to fix it. Him and Mobius, they find this guy who's been sitting in the basement working on stuff. I mean, there's a few little silly things, but there's not much to it. It doesn't mean it's a complete failure. I don't know, where all they're going, and of course, I guess it'll gives an attempt to give some structure to what these effects would have, especially since the idea was to build everything around Kang and then have a final confrontation with him in Secret Wars. Provided they can get there. At this point, I don't know. I'm rather dubious. So the last time you actually saw Loki was in the end-credit scenes from Ant-Man. And since that movie wasn't so great and the word got around, most people, well, maybe not most, but a lot of people didn't see that. But I'm guessing the events here in this episode take place for what you see in that, if they even make mention of it. I mean, he's sitting in the audience watching, I think, a magic show or something like that. And then the magician is, well, it's Kang. And Loki's like, oh my God, that's him. That's the guy. So I thought, at first, he's zipping in and out, that would be the bulk of the show, is that he keeps jumping through different timelines. And that could have been a vehicle for them to use. But no, they wrap that up by the end of the episode. There's some device that they come up with, and they play around with how this guy figures out how to do it by suddenly remembering having met Loki years ago. And I mean, the guy's saying he hasn't talked to Mobius in 400 years or something like that. Well, whatever. And then there's some shenanigans. There's these judges, and they treat it all silly and stuff. But ultimately, oh boy, there's this very risky means by which to save Loki from being zapped through time for Mobius, and of course they do it, and oh boy, it's right up to the last second, and then it works out. But right before it happens, Loki sees Sylvie. Hasn't seen her since he's been zapped from, well, the place that Anyway, she shows up coming out of an elevator, and then he goes back to, with Mobius, and he says, we got to find Sylvie, of course. So, in credit scene, there's Sylvie walking through a pasture, and she goes to McDonald's and looks around at everybody sitting around eating and smiles to herself and says, I'll try everything. So she just wants to live a simple life, Are we sure this really is a Loki? But anyway, there you go. I guess real Loki will find her because, you know, he's in love with himself. So, of course, he loves her. You know. So, anyway, yeah, whatever. It's a very simple episode, taking advantage of just the basic set they have, or probably mostly a few props and green screen everywhere. But what have you, that's all they did. It's not fair enough to just judge it on that, and it was just an episode that they they pretty much wasted just to get Loki to stop jumping in and out of time, but not necessarily space. Yeah. So, don't know. I'm dubious. I wasn't crazy about the last one. But apparently Loki was the most popular of the shows that they did. But still, there's far worse. Falcon and Winter Soldier being the worst. Well, yeah, no, it still is. I mean, Secret Invasion was just, oh God. So coming out of Secret Invasion, this one, at least they kind of sort of did stuff. So there's that. But right now it remains that Ms. Marvel's the best show they've done. Imagine that. Hawkeye was sort of good. And then, of course, the Halloween special they did with Werewolf by Night is probably the best they've done for D+, or DP, as it were. So, anyway, but Loki apparently was the more popular, I guess. The ladies liked him, Hiddleston, you know. So they got that going for him, I suppose. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm dubious. And then after sitting through Ahsoka, boy, jeez. Yeah. I just don't know what it is for some reason. I'm extremely dubious for the potential of anything brand Disney.